Hello, we're the Huge Movie Fanatics coming to review, if you watch the trailer, Night Doom, 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 Doom of the Living Dead. The trailer is great. I saw this, I didn't see this movie until, well, I saw it when I was, I can't remember, you know, teenager. And it's just one of those movies that it's somehow you come out of the womb knowing about. It seems like, you know, that's how it is. It's just like, there's things you come out of the womb knowing about, you know, sex, eating, shitting, sleeping, and Night of the Living Dead. It's just like, you know, and children shouldn't play with dead things. These titles are just are so amazing. Some of these titles you just are born into knowing, and this is one of those occasions where it's just like, it's great because if you know anything about the history, it's like George Romero had this company and they made like commercials or informative films for whatever companies and stuff, and they thought that, you know, that's kind of how he honed his skills. I think he probably cut the stuff, he probably shot this, well, they shot the stuff, he cut the stuff. So at some point he decided, you know, there was all these B movies being made and they were just shit. I can't remember if this is a guy who thought we could do it better, or he certainly thought we could do it as well. Mm-hmm. And they just decided to make their own movie. And I remember hearing the commentary of them deciding whether or not to do black, because they could do 35 black and white, or they could do 16 color. And it's just, I'm so glad they did 35 black and white, because for me black and white is just a huge part of what Night of the Living Dead is. And it's just, the thing about Night of the Living Dead for me is that it's got a lot of technical, it's kind of, when you look at it, it's kind of sloppy, and the acting, you know, I don't know, my stars is difficult last night. I was trying to think of the stars, and I don't know, it's difficult. It's classic and it's timely, but there's some of the acting is so goofy and some of the technical stuff is so goofy that I don't really know. I might have to just wait on the stars and copy your stars or something like that. But it's so great, and what I love about it is it's the exact kind of whatchamacallit that I like, the scenario that I like, which is just so simple. I mean, there's nothing about it. It's like A, B, C, D. We're just seeing something unfold, and that's the kind of movie that I really respond to. I really like. I'm not a huge one for, like, I don't know, all these kind of points and all this shit. I don't really like to think when I watch a movie, and it's just so great in that aspect. And why don't you take it from there and feel my review?
Well, I do like to think when I watch a movie, and
well,
that's why I like it.
I guess maybe, I don't know what I meant by that. Maybe I don't always like to think. Maybe I don't always like to think when I watch a movie. I don't know I don't know if I meant that.
Well, when I first saw this movie, it is one of those things where you know of the movie's existence for some reason. You just know it. But I had no idea what the movie was about, and I was given the movie by one of my dad's friends. He was just like, I got a better copy of this, so he gave me this really tattered VHS copy for free. So I just put it on one Sunday morning, or Saturday morning, and I was having breakfast, and I remember I had the plate full of breakfast. Yeah, it was pretty. It was like something like that. I think it was probably ramen noodles or something. But I had no desire to eat this food after watching like a subject matter about zombies. I didn't realize that was what it was, especially when they're getting to the scene where they're tearing the people apart, the guy and the girl, the young guy and girl, at the gas pump. Anyway, so I saw this movie, and man, this ever since the day I saw it has been one of my all-time favorite horror movies. It's an easy 4 stars for me. It is so smart and so real, and the newscasts are what totally make this movie, because that is something that you do. When September 11th happened, what did you do? You planted yourself in front of the TV and you wanted to know specifically what was going on. You had no idea what was going on, and they didn't either. And they're like, oh, this just in.
It looks like one of those scenes of an old building being, you know, purposely dynamited and blown up.
Something else happened, and it was just that whole. I saw this well before September 11th happened, so that just felt so real to me. Like when tragic news happens, you sit there in front of the TV and you watch, and like if you're with other people, there's like infighting. I remember when September 11th did happen, I was at school, and people would start bickering and fighting and stuff because tensions are running high. It's an emotional experience kind of thing. So this movie captures that just with the newsreel footage, and man, it's great. Sure, there's the time discrepancy where everything is shot in the daylight, and then the rest of the movie takes place at night. So what time was all that news footage shot, kind of thing? Like that part didn't really make a whole lot of sense because it was happening live. But like, so what? It was so good. Plus, the stuff in the house is just great. Like, yeah, and the infighting between the people in the house, between the lead male figure and the dude down in the basement, who ultimately is right at the end of the day, and kind of gets punished for it. The dying girl in the basement is creepy. Still to this day, when she's stabbing her mom, that is creepy. And I love it. It's just great. The whole movie is just great, I'm not gonna lie. 4 stars. But also, like, if you sit down and think about it, and I've heard the director explain the movie and why it was made the way it was, and like it's sort of a goodbye to the idea of the hippie and stuff like that. When you start realizing that that movement wasn't really going anywhere, and everybody has to conform into what everyday life people it is for people, and that's ultimately what that movie was about, the last of a dying breed, because at the end we're all just going to turn into zombies.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, and like I just kind of like that. I like movies that have something to say, and that one kind of did.
Well, surely the end is just fucking amazing.
The ending is amazing, and how progressive it was to have like an African American man. It wasn't written for him. He just was the best man for the job, and they're like, why not? Let's give it to this guy. And he wasn't even thinking about like, well, this hasn't happened before. No, he's just like, that guy's a good actor. He is perfect. I didn't think any of the acting is bad. I think it's timely for the time that it came out. You watch a lot of movies from the 60s, and the acting is that way. I don't hold that against it at all. I think it actually works quite well. I'm assuming Barbara's who you're referring to specifically there.
Well, and also that muscle man guy. I don't know. A lot of them.
I don't think the acting is bad at all. It just feels very 60s. It's like you watch old Star Trek episodes and the actors are all acting a certain way, and that's just what the acting was in the 60s. Not to say that there aren't like examples otherwise, but that just sort of seems to be the case. But I love it. 4 stars. I'm gonna.
I'd say shit. No, I haven't. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, George Romero is what he does. What's great about his zombie movies, and I haven't seen a lot of other people's zombie movies, but I'm inclined to think that his are some of the best zombie movies because he always has the thought, which you just mentioned, behind it. And I've seen, because I got them for $3 at Half Price Books, I've seen the last 2, and I actually, have you seen The Survival?
It was on TV last night. I didn't watch it.
I don't want to, maybe we should save it for another review sometime, but I don't want to go into it, but I was pretty impressed with Survival of the Dead, and I'm glad he had an opportunity to do that after Diary, which, because it's found footage, I'm not too thrilled with. But
I haven't seen that. I want to, though.
You haven't seen Diary?
I only saw up until Land of.
Oh wow! Because Diary, I mean, I think Diary and sure, I think out of the 3 new ones, the Land and the whatever, I think Survival is the best, actually.
Survival seemed to get the worst reviews out of the bunch. I think Diary got the best reviews. Land of kind of got mixed.
Yeah, I kind of like Survival. Land, to me, out of all 3, might be. The thing is, I don't like found footage, so I mean that holds back Diary of the Dead. But Diary's got good points. The thing, what I was getting at though, is just like the last shot of Survival of the Dead. He just, I don't know. You wouldn't think that you'd put a lot of really important, whatever you call it, comments about society in zombie movies, and that's what he does every single time. And it's just what he does with zombie movies are great, and like I say, that ending, I'll go 3.5, just because some of the technical aspects and stuff, which are huge for me, just in a movie in general. 3.5 stars. It's just because of some of the acting and some of the technical stuff.
I will say that Night of the Living Dead is the best out of his zombie movies. I can unequivocally say that Night of the Living Dead is his best one. A lot of people say Dawn of the Dead, but Dawn of the Dead has no rewatchability. I watched the first time and I loved it, and I watched it a second time and I'm like, why did I like this? And I watched it again, and I'll keep coming back to it because everybody loves it so much, and I try to figure it out, and like it's a fine movie, but it's not really that good. And sure, it has the commentary about how we're all zombies, with commercialism and with working in a mall and stuff like that. I do see that, but at the end of the day, Night of the Living Dead sort of said the same thing. It felt a little redundant. On that sense, but Dawn of is certainly better than Day of, which I think is his weakest one.
Yeah, that's
Land
the
of
one I've
I
seen
liked.
the least.
Same here. I've seen it once. I wasn't blown away. I should watch it again. I did like Land of the Dead surprisingly a lot. I did not expect to, but I'd put that up sort of shoulder to shoulder with Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, and I didn't see the last two. I want to because I do like that. One day I will. I will buy all 5 movies, because they are cheap as sin at Barnes & Noble. I think the most expensive one is Survival of the Dead, which is $7.99. All the other ones are under $7. So maybe I'll just pick them all up and sit down and have a Romero zombie day.
I did that with the last 3 after I saw it, because I got Survival, and it made me want to watch Land and Diary again, so I did that recently.
Land of had one of my favorite shots, which was the headless zombie, and you're like, what? And then all of a sudden, just like the head just shoots up and bites the guy. That's great.
That is good, and he seems to never have an endless, whatever of zombie ideas, which is, there's really clever zombie stuff in Diary and Survival of, and he always keeps pulling them out of the bag just when you thought that was the last one you could think of.
Yeah, he was supposed to do the original Resident Evil movie. He even wrote a script for it, which I have saved on my computer. I haven't read it yet, but it's kind of too bad. I mean, I liked the first Resident Evil movie for what it was, just sort of like popcorn, it's there kind of movie, which is that's the review of the entire franchise there, by the way. But I would have loved to see what Romero would have done, because his movies say something, as we were both saying. So I want to know what he had to say with Resident Evil, because it's all about corporate America. That's what the Resident Evil franchise is. Like, corporate America is gonna turn you A into a zombie, and B, it's gonna destroy civilization, which is kind of happening right now.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
That's what Resident Evil is. So I wanted to see how he would have taken that message and run with it. Like, that would have been great. And one of these days I'll read that script, maybe do a script review for you guys.
Script review. All right. Well, I think that about sums it up. I mean, it's great atmospherically. Again, like, if you know anything about me, just the environment, the farmhouse, the opening in the cemetery is just, it's pretty cool. It's really great. And the black and white really does wonders for it. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Night of the Living Dead, 1968.
Did you want to mention that director's cut that you have, or not director's cut, the alternate cut where they take the actor who's the first zombie and then reinsert him throughout the movie?
How do you know I have that?
You let me borrow that.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, and you're like, you like that movie? Watch this, you'll hate it. And I pretty much I did.
Because it came out with that in '99, I think.
Yeah.
I thought it was
the zombie goes like gaunt and then suddenly poofy and then gaunt.
I thought it was footage that they had filmed for it that they didn't put in, and then I bought this thing. And it's actually, I don't know how well known it even is. If it disappeared, yeah. 99, Anchor Bay put this version of Night of the Living Dead out that, what's his name? Who plays the cemetery zombie? What the hell is his name?
I can't remember.
He's in another movie called Flesh Eater. He's Bill Heinzman. And I think him and John Russo did these shoots. And they did extra shot. They shot it, like, in 98 or 99, this extra shit, I don't know what on. And they inserted it, because Night of the Living Dead is public domain, so they just inserted it. So that the same guy who played the cemetery zombie, how many years later, I don't know, 30 or 35?
Yeah, it's got to be about at least 30 years.
I haven't seen it since then. I don't know if I even watched the whole thing then. But that was...
No, you said you didn't, so I watched the whole thing.
Oh.
I saw the ending.
and I think it's rescored, because I remember...
It's rescored, and they put new radio footage in the thing. Yeah,
because I remember thinking, because it came with the CD, like the soundtrack, and I'm like, oh, I want the soundtrack of that, which is actually just library music from beforehand, which you can download on the internet. That it's downloaded on the internet from the original Night of the Dead, And then it's redone music, so it's got a soundtrack CD. This new fucking stupid music they put into it. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what it was called. what they billed it as.
I don't remember.
Night of the Living Dead, the horror, you know, just a fucking pathetic ass edition or something.
Anchor Bay put it out, folks.
Anchor Bay did it, folks. It was really, I don't know what they billed it as. Thanks for watching. Thanks for reminding me about that.
Have you since sold that? Or
No, you gotta keep that. 9 might be the only version still available in the world, you know? They might have burned them all.
Yeah, probably.
They should have. I gotta keep it for historical purposes. Thanks for watching.
They should make the day the time changes the first day of summer.
What?
Well, it's 8 o'clock and it's still light.
A lot of good the extra daylight does us. You know, we still got a 3-hour drive back. We're not going to be home until after midnight.
If it really bothered you, Johnny, you wouldn't do it.
You think I want to blow Sunday on a scene like this? You know, I think we either got to move Mom out here or move the grave into Minneapolis.
You know Mom can't make a trip like this.
We don't know that she can't. Have any of them donuts left?
No.
Yeah, figures. Look at this thing. We still remember. I don't. You know, I don't even remember what the man looks like.
It takes 5 minutes, Johnny.
Oh yeah, 5 minutes to pound that thing into the ground and 6 hours to drive back and forth.
Well, we're here already, all right?
We sure are. God, I hate this town. You know, 2 years ago, supposedly, there was a dead body found at this very cemetery.
It's a graveyard, Johnny. There's dead bodies everywhere.
No, I mean above ground. I mean, it was like some derelict was either killed here or killed and dragged here.
You are making that up.
No, I'm not. Dead serious.
Yeah, right.
That's what I heard anyway. God, I hate this town.
Whatever.
Full of drunks. Look, here comes one of them now.
Johnny, you don't know that. He was probably just here visiting a grave. Look. He looks so sad.
He looks drunk.
That's enough. Are you coming?
What for?
To... Bye.